Good, happy Sunday morning, October 13, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, man accused of shooting bishop during wedding at Pelham Church, officials say. Wedding guests subdued suspect before officers arrived, police say. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When family and friends come together on a beautiful day, what better place to be than in your own backyard?
Now, this is still very much an active investigation. State police are still here on scene at this hour. A K-9 unit is also working this end of Bridge Street here in Pelham. Pelham police say they are not looking for any subjects, but of course, this is all part of a major investigation as officials just try to figure out what exactly happened here today. A day of celebration to mark new beginnings takes a tragic turn after a man opens fire during a wedding at the New England Pentecostal Ministries in Pelham Saturday morning. Police getting the 911 call just before 10:15.
Responding officers arrived within 3 minutes of the call.
Officers arriving to find the suspect pinned down by wedding guests.
From my understanding is they basically gang tackled him. There was a struggle ensued. Minor injuries occurred to the other guests who were in the struggle with the shooter.
That alleged shooter is identified as 37-year-old Dale Holloway. He is in custody and charged with first-degree assault. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office says Holloway walked into the wedding and shot 75-year-old Bishop Stanley Choate, seen here in a previous WMUR interview.
Bishop Choate is currently receiving treatment at Tufts Medical Center in Boston, Massachusetts. He is listed in serious condition.
The bride, 60-year-old Claire McCullen, also hit by gunfire.
Suffered a gunshot wound to her arm. She's being treated at a local hospital right now and is in good condition.
Her groom, 60-year-old Mark Castiglione, taken to the hospital for a head injury after officials say he was hit with an object. He's the father of Brandon Castiglione, who was accused of murdering Louis Garcia a few weeks ago in Londonderry. Garcia was a minister at this same church.
Whether there is, in fact, a clear connection between these two events, that is something we're trying to put together.
And now there was actually supposed to be a memorial held here this afternoon for Louis Garcia, that minister who was murdered down in Londonderry a few weeks ago. Of course, that did not happen. Now, as for this suspect, police say he will face a judge on Tuesday. Reporting live in Pelham, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Family shares story of deacon who helped tackle church shooting suspect. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
When family and friends come together on a beautiful day, what better place to be than in your own backyard?
I heard they jumped the shooter, and that's what we heard. And people were shot and injured, and we had no idea who was shot and injured at the time.
It was a trying few hours for Ren Archer when he heard about the shooting at the church where his father, Othniel, has served for years. The entire family knew this dedicated deacon and grandfather would be at a wedding in the balcony running the sound system.
And I immediately panicked because I know his dad is always at the church.
Wren's wife says Othniel finally reached the family by phone and shared what happened in the moments leading up to the shots that struck the bride and Bishop Stanley Choate, seen here giving us a church tour less than 2 weeks ago.
Inside here, the sanctuary.
When the man who did the shooting went into the church, he had his hood on, and so it kind of piqued his, suspicion of like, who's this guy coming into a wedding wearing a hood? And so he was already kind of keeping an eye on him.
He says right after the vows were exchanged and before the bishop could declare them husband and wife, the man approached.
The gentleman stood up and went towards the altar, and then that's when everything happened. Everybody started to run when they heard the shots, and when the shots started, and then he said, I need to get out of here, but then he stopped and said, no, I can't leave, and he went back and tackled the guy.
I think it's the greatest thing ever, like that my dad he didn't think about it, he just did it. That's just the kind of guy he is. He helps everybody any time of the day. My dad always jokes that he's played football, he's a linebacker and a cornerback. He always jokes about that. And we're like, yeah, sure, Dad, you're making all that up. And then he tackles somebody, we're like, he might actually be a linebacker.
And that linebacker is doing well tonight. He spent hours helping police, and he says other wedding guests also jumped in to help. This is a traumatic event for everyone. Church services are canceled tomorrow, and counselors will be available at Town Hall right next to the police department tomorrow from noon to 5 for anyone who wants to talk about what happened here today. Live in Pelham, Jean Mackin, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your New Hampshire candidate tracker for today. We have 2 candidates in New Hampshire today. The first candidate, John Delaney. He has 1 event today in New Hampshire. Breakfast Town Hall at the Common Man Restaurant in Claremont, New Hampshire at 9 o'clock a.m. And Joe Seastack, he has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, Young Adult Event in Keene, New Hampshire at 4 o'clock p.m. And his second event, Town Meeting, organized by local Democrats in Antrim Little Town Hall in Antrim, New Hampshire at 6 p.m. Trump sounds off on impeachment investigation at rally in Louisiana. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Trump pulling no punches when he took aim at the Democrats overnight, as he also reported progress in ending the China trade war. ABC's David Wright joins us from the White House with more. David, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. The president is holding his head high, playing to the base with a growing list of grievances. At a rally in Lake Charles, Louisiana, he trumpeted a tentative trade deal with China and also lashed out at the impeachment inquiry. For the second night in a row, President Trump sought to escape the dizzying developments back home to trot out on the campaign trail, where he denounced what he called
the unholy alliance of corrupt Democrat politicians, deep state bureaucrats, and the fake news media. There they are right there.
The president also had good news to share.
I just made a great China deal today,
claiming significant progress in trade talks with the vice premier of China.
There's nothing bigger than what we're doing with China, and we've come to a very substantial phase 1 deal.
President Trump said the partial deal covers intellectual property, financial services, and some agricultural products. The talks may signal an easing of retaliatory tariffs on both sides, including a hike on $250 billion worth of Chinese goods that was set to take effect later this month. ABC's John Carl asked if other subjects came up in his talks with the Chinese.
Can you assure the American people that you did not bring up Joe Biden in these negotiations, that you have not brought up that with the Chinese?
I have not brought up Joe Biden. China can do whatever they want with respect to the Bidens.
As for the trade agreement, the president insisted this is just a handshake agreement for now. They still have to write the actual agreement, a process that could take weeks, maybe even months, Eva.
David Wright for us, thank you. And more changes in the Trump administration as Kevin McAleenan, the acting secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, announced on Friday that he is stepping down after 6 months on the job. McAleenan, a career law enforcement official who served in the Bush and Obama administrations, was tapped to stop the influx of undocumented immigrants entering the country through the U.S.-Mexico border. President Trump tweeting that McAleenan has decided he needs to spend more time with his family and explore the private sector.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Do you like to drink coffee? Are you a coffee drinker? Take a look at this photo here from WebMD. Healthy benefits of coffee. Your daily coffee may lower risk of stroke, liver disease, type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, and gallstones. So your coffee could do that. Very cool indeed. So, drink some more cups of coffee, everyone. And now let's take a look at your New Hampshire event calendar for today. 2019 Warren Fall Foliage Festival, 2W Main Street, Warren, New Hampshire, 03278 at 9 o'clock a.m. And price, free admission, parking, $5 off I-89, exit 9. On view in Cornish, American Art in the Picture Gallery, 1948 to 2019 at 139 St. Gordon's Road, Cornish, New Hampshire, 03745, all day, prices $0 to $10 per person, age 16 and over. Opening receptionist and preview exhibit, Monadnock Art Tour, 19 Grove Street, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458 at 9:30 a.m. and is free event. Fall Foliage Art Studio Tour, 239 Main Street, New Ipswich, New Hampshire, 0300371 at 10 o'clock a.m. and it is a free event. And it's a bunch of art studios that will be participating in New Ipswich, New Hampshire. Tuscan Fest returns to Tuscan Kitchen in Salem at 63 and 67 Main Street, Salem, New Hampshire, 03079 at 10 o'clock a.m. and it is free. Johnny's Preparedness Monadnock Art Open Studio, 71 Lindsborough Lane, Peterborough, New Hampshire, 03458, and it begins at 10 o'clock a.m. and it is free. Touch a Tractor Day at Quapple House Farm, 118 North River Road, Lee, New Hampshire, 03861, and it begins at 10 o'clock a.m. and it is free. And those are all the events happening today, right here in New Hampshire. And that is it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.